Joe's point about this being a national issue, our next speaker is going to help us understand why it's a national issue to her, the people around her. Up next is Tamyra Harrison from Iowans for DC Statehood. Thank you for joining us.
If I can just take a second here. I've been up since 2 in the morning and just landed here 2 hours ago, and I'm like an 8-year-old at Disney World for the first time in her life. I'm very excited to be here and for something I'm so passionate about, and to be surrounded by and be able to work with such tremendous people in a coalition for something that just has to happen. I just wanted to take a moment and say I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you, and thank everybody back here too for what they're doing. As he said, my name's Tamyra Harrison. I'm president and founder of Iowans for DC Statehood. I became enraged and engaged in the fight for DC Statehood in 2015. And I met Senator Paul Strauss and later Senator Michael Brown and Congressman Franklin Garcia when they came to Iowa before the 2016 caucus. At that time, I was executive director for Polk County Democrats, which includes the Des Moines metro area, position that I'd held from 2004 to 2017. I had no idea how little I understood about the challenges facing the people of DC. In the United States of America, where more than 200 years ago, our ancestors said hell no to taxation without representation and fought to give us the great nation that we have today, we're allowing more than 700,000 Americans to live under the same tyranny our ancestors fought so hard against. Why is this even a debate? As the beacon of democracy for other countries around the world, either we believe in a democratic, representative government, or we do not. Our Constitution says governments are instituted among men, and now women, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. The people of DC are currently governed by Congress with no vote in its decisions. In 2016, 86% of them voted in favor of statehood, making their lack of consent clear. So why is this still happening today? The easy answer is the political one, that one party doesn't want to give more power to another. And while there's some truth in that, that's not why. I'll give you 2 big whys: priorities and education. In 1978, DC statehood was in the platform of both major political parties with strong advocates on both sides, but it didn't pass. It's remained in the Democratic platform each year since, and while Democrats have controlled the White House and Congress since then, the residents of DC are still excluded from our democracy. For DC to become a state, we not only need to continue to build consensus on both sides of the aisle again, but we have to tell our elected officials and candidates running for office that this is a priority and hold them accountable if it's not. The other essential piece is education. In the last 3 years, Iowans for DC Statehood has had presence at committee meetings and community events, conventions, different things all across Iowa. This summer in particular, we participated in a week-long annual event in Iowa called Rag Ride, which is put on by the Des Moines Register each year, where people ride bicycles over 400 miles across the state of Iowa, river to river. People travel from all over the country and even internationally to participate in this event, with as many as 30,000 riders on a given day. We had booths in every overnight town that week, and a team called Riding for Representation, which my husband over here, Paul Harrison, very wonderfully was the team leader on. I could not ride across the state of Iowa 400 miles. That was not happening. We had the opportunity, though, to engage with thousands of people. Many were in favor of DC statehood. Few were adamantly opposed, usually for political reasons. The majority of people didn't even know this was an issue. We thought the people living in DC voted, or they thought the people living in DC voted somewhere else. Some thought DC was already part of another state. While our team leader was riding Rag Ride, another rider shouted to him, "I think 50 is a nice even number." His reply, "Yeah, and I'm sure in 1791 there were some people who thought 13 was a nice odd number." By the end of the week, we received a pile of petitions with signatures of support from 34 different states. What we learned talking to people, many of whom were not highly politically engaged, was that we need a strong education campaign across the country for DC statehood. To close, I want to share the number one question people asked this week. And it was the first question I was asked off the plane as well today. Why do Iowans care about DC statehood? My response was usually, why wouldn't we care about the voting rights of more than 700,000 fellow Americans living in this country? In Iowa, as first in the nation, we have a unique opportunity, and with that an obligation, to talk about important issues and bring them to the national stage during the presidential races when all eyes are on Iowa. But shouldn't we all care? Our friends in DC need more people in more states to stand up and say, I care, and help us build on this tremendous momentum to grow a nationwide, grassroots, bipartisan coalition and end this blight on our democracy. Republican U.S. Senator Strom Thurmond in 1978 probably said it best and simply, the residents of the District of Columbia deserve the right to full representation in Congress if for no other reason than simple fairness. Thank you.